Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about Hulkbuster, the recent expansion just announced for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Atomic Mass Games dropped this gorgeous image on their social media, and we've got a lot to talk about. There's some speculation, and there's also certain things that we're pretty sure are going to be new kind of concepts based on this particular expansion, based on some of the information that's on their website and some things that we've learned. We've got also the release date and the pricing for this mammoth expansion for Marvel Crisis Protocol. If you guys are new here to the channel, be sure to enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. If you're already subscribed, you're already halfway there. Be sure to check also some of the links that are down in the description below. You can jump in my Discord. We have a very family-friendly gaming Discord. Jump on in there. We've got different channels that talk about all kinds of different Star Wars games, as well as tabletop games. We have Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we have painting channels in there and all kinds of cool stuff too. So I'd love to have you. And there's other links for social media and Crabbok.com and all kinds of stuff like that. It's all down there in the description below. With that being said, let's start talking about Hulkbuster. So when I first saw this, I was just overjoyed because this is one of those characters that's just going to be so fun and maybe intimidating to paint as well, but so much fun to get on the tabletop, just having this massive, huge miniature. I love big miniatures because they really add a lot of contrast on your table, to especially when in a game where most of the other characters are much smaller. Having a big, like, kind of centerpiece type of mini is extremely fun. So I know I've been kind of waiting for Sentinels to come out. I have a feeling that that the mini extravaganza is going to be like when they show us some of the more X-Men stuff that's coming, and we're going to talk a little bit about that more towards the end of the video. But I thought, this being such an iconic and recognizable and beloved model here, I thought that this would have been something that they saved for the mini extravaganza. So this one's really surprising. Maybe they will have one in hand to be painting, but it's incredible. I mean, look at this sculpt. Like, he's kind of leaning forward, so I'm sure like the blast is going to be like more of a solid plastic, and it'll be all empty up here. But I think I might want to put some weights on this thing in the bottom to kind of first off to give it more heft, and then also just to, I'm afraid it's going to tip over, but I'm sure they'll design it well enough that it doesn't. But man, it's beautiful. And also, that's another Iron Man we're getting another Iron Man in this one too. When I first saw this, all of my attention went straight towards Hulkbuster, and I totally discounted the other Iron Man that was right here, and I was just thinking, oh, that's just Iron Man. Wait, that's not the core set's Iron Man. That's a whole nother Iron Man, which is kind of cool. So what can we gather from all of this? Well, we've learned a couple of things. This particular expansion, they both come together, but it's only one unit. We've learned a couple of things from the website. We can go to atomicmassgames.com/CP52, which is the 52nd expansion, and we can see a lot of things like what comes in here. We're getting a Hulkbuster miniature, an Iron Man Hulkbuster miniature, 2 bases. Of course, we're gonna have to put each of them on a. Although I'm guessing it's more than 2 bases, right? They always give you extra bases now. Of course, the 2 team tactics card and a character stat card. Notice the number 1 in front of character stat card. So this is not 2 characters. This is 1 character. This is just 1 character, and so that's going to tell you a lot. So if there's only 1 character card, the things that we can assume is that it's Hulkbuster on the front and Iron Man Hulkbuster, Iron Man, on the rear, and so you probably can't field this version of Iron Man by himself. Unless, of course, like there's the 2 team tactics cards. Like there's one called the Helios Laser Bombardment, and I believe that's just the big laser beam that Hulkbuster and there's another one called Fallback, and it's also listed on the website. And Fallback could be kind of like an ejector seat kind of thing, or it could be like a movement, like where you just retreat or move away from, like, a response to incoming damage maybe. But wouldn't it be kind of cool if it was, at first I was thinking, well, maybe it's just, his wounded side, he gets out and then he's on the ground, because the base is also, some people have kind of really zoomed in on the base, and it does look like the base is part of Hulkbuster's armor kind of on the ground. So he kind of emerges out of like that center console, which is a really, really cool concept. But wouldn't it be cool if you could actually die while in the Hulkbuster armor or be KO'd, and you have Fallback as a card? Maybe you need that team tactics card in order to flip the card. So you have to be like, basically you have to get out on your turn before you're dead, right? So wouldn't that be a cool thing? Like, you have to do it in advance of being killed, or gamble and stay in there for like 1 more turn. That would be interesting. Or, of course, it could be a reactionary card you just play. But if that's the case, why would they make a team tactics card for it? It's probably just a movement card, and it's probably just that your wounded side is Iron Man, who kind of gets out. But yeah, so that's a really cool thing. And I imagine when you retreat or whatever, you'll kind of get out at distance, within distance 1 of where you were. So you kind of get like jump outs like slightly adjacent. So this is really exciting, though. I'm going to have a lot of fun trying to get this thing painted up and trying to do it justice. And, maybe I'll get lucky and it'll look great and maybe not, but it'll be a really fun one to do. I've already seen some community artwork where they kind of he looks like he honestly, Hulkbuster, it looks like he's playing basketball, right? If you put a basketball in his hand, he looks like he's going in for like a power dunk. It just looks that way. It's fantastic. I love the pose. I actually love the Iron Man pose too. I love the painting effect on the flames, on the repulsor energy that's coming out of the feet on both models. It's a beautiful, beautiful model. So I can't wait to see more from this expansion. Again, I thought this was going to be displayed at Mini Stravaganza. So what else is coming, and why are they kind of previewing more stuff right now? I thought all the previews that we're going to be getting between now and then are going to be of the new Magic wave, like the Doctor Strange wave and the Dormammu wave and stuff, because they've been doing larger miniatures. Well, I think the next thing's going to be previewed is going to be Juggernaut and Colossus. Those are, I think, the last 2 cards. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know people will in the chat, because I'm on the internet, so if I make a mistake, of course you guys are going to let me have it. But I believe those are the last 2 that are previewed right now that we still haven't seen yet, or at least that we have like written down. So at least 2 of the most recognizable for sure, because a lot of people definitely want Colossus and Juggernaut. I don't think these are going to come in the same expansions, though. I think if I were to make some predictions, I imagine we're probably going to see Colossus show up with either Magic or Kitty or something to that. Or, if they want to go straight from the movies, maybe Negasonic Teenage, I don't even remember her, Warhead, I think. I don't know. But I only know her from the movie. My comic knowledge is mostly from like the 90s, and it's limited at that. So I'm afraid I'm not as much of an expert in the comic lore, but more also from of course, the animated series, which is where I get a lot of it from. And of course, Juggernaut. Gotta love Juggernaut. And my love for Juggernaut is not even as much from the animated series as it is from the Marvel vs. Capcom games, especially Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because I really want to build my ultimate team, which is Cable and Juggernaut, and then Charlie, but he's from Capcom. He's from Street Fighter, so I'll have to pull him from the Street Fighter miniatures game. But I don't think that's going to work too well. Not for Marvel Crisis Protocol. But I'm curious what you guys think about which costumes do you think they're going to go with? I think these 2 are probably pretty good guesses on since they've kind of been doing a lot of the 90s X-Men and stuff like that. But I'm curious how big you think they're going to make Juggernaut, because I have a feeling Juggernaut could end up being close to Hulkbuster size. As a matter of fact, when I look at Hulkbuster's size, I tend to think, wait, could this be kind of an idea of the scale in which we're going to see Juggernaut? Now, there's a lot of different reference material, a lot of source material they could go with. Let's just hope they don't troll us and go with the X-Men 3 movie version of Juggernaut. I don't think there's a chance they would do that, but I mean, if it ended up being like an April preview before they give us Juggernaut, that would make the funniest April 1st video. If they're like, all right, here's a look at our Juggernaut, and like they 3D printed one to be like the movie, and like the art had like, was straight up from X-Men 3, and we're like, no, not that Juggernaut. It's not the Juggernaut we want. That would be hilarious. And I know this is a Hulkbuster video, but it does have me thinking about what other bigger, nasty, huge things we're going to be seeing. I do think that maybe we're going to see Sentinels at the, during the time of the next Mini Stravaganza, which is going to be in about 3 more weeks-ish. So that's going to be exciting. We'll see what all else gets previewed. And let me ask you guys this. So much stuff that they've done has been, inspired or at least related to the MCU a little bit. How many of you guys were thinking that maybe if they had done Hulkbuster, they might have had Bruce Banner in there, since he also used the Hulkbuster armor for even more time than Tony Stark did? So it's like, well, should there be 2 versions? I was originally hoping, when I first saw this image, before I saw there was only 1 unit card, that there was going to be an option to have Bruce in there, so you could have had potentially Bruce and in the Hulkbuster armor and regular Iron Man fighting beside him. And I think it helped me think of that when I saw these two, thinking, hey, this is a new wave. We're going to get a new Iron Man, and we're going to have a Hulkbuster, and they can all both be on the same map at the same time. But it doesn't appear that that's going to be the case. But it does have a lot of people asking, are we going to see some kind of house party protocol where we see like an Iron Legion or something similar where you get multiple Tony Stark? Because let's face it, if this is Hulkbuster and then an Iron Man and within a Hulkbuster, they're both going to say Tony Stark as the name of the alter ego who's inside. So you're not going to be able to run this with regular Iron Man. Although I totally will for my casual games, because I like to play this game casually. A little, I don't usually play like in a tournament setting. So like I would have no problem like house ruling a couple of Iron Man and War Machine and Hulkbuster all on the board at the same time, especially if they keep doing more Iron Man armors. But I think if they do enough, there's going to be some kind of event or scenario or situation that encourages you or rewards you for running multiple Iron Man. I think that would be really fun. But I want to hear some of your predictions for Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I haven't really been doing too many Marvel Crisis Protocol videos lately, so I'm curious what you guys think. Is this something that you would want me to talk about more? I'm certainly going to do it, but I don't know exactly how much content for Marvel Crisis Protocol I'm going to do. I know that there's a lot of really, really cool stuff planned for the future, and I can't wait to see Juggernaut. I'll definitely do a video when they see Juggernaut. I know a lot of people really want Gambit and Rogue, Nightcrawler. There's a lot of stuff that's heavily in demand, and it's weird for me because Marvel is kind of like one of those IPs where there's a lot of stuff that I definitely do want, but then there's a lot of things I can kind of pass on. Like this Dormammu wave for me is one that I think I can pass on, but it's a hard game for a lot of people to collect 100% of it because there's just so much. And so I haven't gotten a lot of the terrain because I have so much terrain already for games like Star Wars Legion and other miniatures games that I really don't need to buy all of the Marvel Crisis Protocol terrain, even though it is pretty cool. So I'm just curious what you guys are thoughts on coverage of Marvel Crisis Protocol. And if you haven't played it yet, you really should check it out. It's a fantastic game, and the core set gives you 10 characters. It's a great entry point, and you can easily play a full 2-player game with just the core set and have a blast doing it. All right, you guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons for continuing to support the channel. You guys are amazing. And always remember, don't wear jeans in a swimming pool. That's just awkward.